This is going to be one of my first reaction videos. I haven't really done these before. You're not going to see any video. It's just going to be audio. I guess in keeping with the podcast, and I'm too lazy to import a video. And this is really just off the cuff, but I felt compelled to do a video because I've been doing a couple of videos on God, so now I want to hit back at Christians who are saying things that I think are really ignorant. And this is also off the cuff because I kind of wanted to respond impromptu, kind of like a test of my own knowledge, I guess, in case I ever do a live debate sometime in the future. I want to be able to think on the spot. So this is going to be with Trent Horn. It's kind of unfortunate because I think he's a really smart guy, but pretty much everything outside of the argument from contingency he says is wrong. But even so, he is well able to articulate what he says, so it provides an interesting challenge. So I'm going to see how well I can respond to him here about gay marriage. I think it's about gay marriage. That's what it says in the title. So I'm going to see if he presents any arguments.
I think though when we present these to people, sometimes people will just throw out all these arguments, or they'll throw out things. It's easy to step on a landmine. Once again, get inside the other person's head and think of what your words will mean to them. It's hard. You have to think before we speak. And sometimes you learn the lessons the hard way. In Colossians 4:6, St. Paul says, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so you know what to say to everyone, to every man. And for example, so I was born this way. I was born this way, so I don't see anything wrong with that. And the retort is, pedophiles say that they're born that way. Does that make pedophilia okay?
Yeah, a bit abrasive.
Well,
Yeah, no duh. Not only is it abrasive, but I feel like even if you don't start out that way, if that's like your thought process, it's already kind of revealing your inner thinking. And like, in what way is homosexuality like pedophilia? That makes no sense. That's like, I guess you could say there's like a very thin connection there in that, well, I was born this way. But does anybody who really tries to justify homosexuality really leave it at that? Like, isn't it implicit that when they say I was born this way, the added argument is also, and it's between consenting adults and we're not hurting anybody? I mean, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure that's the implication there. I was born this way, I'm not hurting anybody. And I think, just to jump in there, is not only abrasive, it's uncharitable, and it's just a very bad argument, because how many people would take what a gay person's saying and not, add in those extra arguments?
saying there's nothing wrong with engaging in homosexual behavior, because I'm not choosing this. This is a feeling that I've had for a very long time, maybe since puberty or even before that. Is that what you're saying? Now, here, I think what happens in our discourse, sometimes we think, okay, we both know that's what the person is thinking, so here's my rebuttal argument.
Yeah.
Let's slow down just a little bit, because I want it to be explicit to that person for them to really think it through in that regard.
Okay.
So I'd say, all right, help me understand where you're coming from. So then would you agree then the larger principle? Are you saying that it's okay for a person to engage in a behavior because they have always felt inclined towards that behavior for a very, very long time? Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
And notice this approach is gentle.
Much gentler.
And I'm just trying to see.
So yeah, it's gentler, but you're still saying the same thing. It's like almost you're, like if you say, you know what, if you just call black people the N-word, that's super offensive. Rather, I want to tease out that black people are inferior. So let's go do more race realism. It's far less abrasive, far more scientifically sounding, and I don't think you're going to offend as many people. Well, if you're just going to say the same thing in a gentler way, I don't think that actually makes it better. Nor should anybody feel better because you're being condescending to them.
I put forward are I would say that many men feel a polyamorous orientation ever since puberty. They want to sleep with anything that can move, basically. Some guys are, and yet that doesn't mean they should always act on that orientation, especially if they're in a committed relationship or a marriage, and the person could see they have this very very strong feeling you may not want to act on, or
Yeah, again, here, unless you're assuming that the person who's engaging in sexual behavior with everybody is breaking somebody's consent or having sex with somebody who can't give consent, like an animal or a child, well, then, again, I don't see what is wrong with that. Or might be not really immoral, but I guess you could say unethical if you made a promise to somebody you're in a relationship with not to date other people and you cheat on them. That might be, I think immoral would be a strong word, but yeah, I could see unethical there. But again, you're trying to smuggle in a context that's very vague that would need to be analyzed more to really see if it's in fact immoral.
some people will have very very short tempers. I mean, there are some people, if you have known them from infancy, they have had a
Yeah.
short temper.
Yeah, they
So
blame
could-
it on their Irish temper or something.
Or they could literally say, I was born this way. I
Yeah.
was angry the moment I came out of the womb.
I've got footage of it when I was 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even 1 week old, 1 day old. And yet, just because you may be predisposed in that way doesn't mean it would be right for you to bite somebody's head off or to throw a tantrum or things like that. Just because we're wired a certain way doesn't mean we ought to act on that. And then, of course, then there'll be
Yeah, so anger, tearing people apart verbally or even physically out of anger, again, is causing suffering to somebody, is hurting somebody either psychologically or physically. Again, you're taking homosexuality that doesn't hurt anybody and trying to apply it to a situation in which somebody is being hurt. So again, just complete bigotry and a lame excuse for bigotry at that.
examples, they harm other people. I don't see how this is harming anyone. Okay, well, let's talk about that. So now we've set aside one issue, and then another issue rises. Let's ask, why do you believe that? Do you think there could be exceptions to that? Could it lead to, in philosophy we call this reductio ad absurdum. And so I wouldn't say that like, let's do a reductio ad absurdum to show what you believe is crazy, because that's not going to be inviting. But to say, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, and if it's true, I would believe it. But I'm concerned that what you believe would lead to these other beliefs I'm very, very uncomfortable with. And I
Right.
think you may be uncomfortable with as well.
Right.
Can you help me see how maybe it doesn't lead to those beliefs? Or maybe I shouldn't be uncomfortable with those beliefs?
Finally, we get to the issue I was bringing up, which is that gays don't hurt anybody. And all the examples you keep bringing up are instances where somebody is getting hurt. So I just wish you would have started with that instead of procrastinating and being uncharitable. It's just kind of a waste of time there. Basically every argument to gay marriage boils down to this. Gay marriage is like this thing where somebody's being hurt, even though gay marriage doesn't hurt anybody. That's basically what every argument against homosexuality is. Maybe not. I'll keep watching. I haven't heard a good argument yet. So we'll leave it there. The video pretty much ends there. He doesn't go into why gay marriage hurts anybody, but maybe he didn't have time. I'll be more charitable than Trent in my response.